What's good, fellas, man? How y'all doing coming off
Tennessee's basketball team.
The Vols?
Yeah.
That's what's good right now.
A state of Alabama sweep. How good is that, though?
You're not surprised, are you?
No, I'm not. I thought the game in Tuscaloosa was going to be difficult. I didn't expect Alabama to go cold, but walking into it, the question was which Alabama team was going to show up. A team that was on fire, and we got to see both of them. You got to see them in the first half on a 12-0 run, and it looked like they were starting to get, their bearings back about themselves. And then the second half happened, and I think Greg Nelson is a bigger piece of the pie than they thought he would be, defensively and offensively, when you're looking at a guy like Pringle having to fill in. But Tennessee had their own situation that they had to manage, where they do, and Walker and guys Dalton being in foul trouble, guys having to come through, Josiah playing the five. And it looks like those savvy vets that everybody seems to question every time. What is Josiah going to give us? What is Santi going to give us? And lo and behold, in these games, the Auburn game, Santi made probably – could be arguably – now, this is with everything being as is. Arguably the play to put the nail in the coffin for him, with the offensive rebound, to lock up, to get some good assists. And then in the Alabama game, we saw what Jemai Mashack did, but I would say Josiah was just as impactful. Being able to go play the five and get a double-double, like that's pretty tough to do on the road. So it seems every time, the number needs to be called and somebody needs to answer, the wily vets seem to answer the bell every single time.
Ron Slay, I'm not playing with you today, man. I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. I ain't got time for playing games with you, man. Zakai Zeigler. Zeigler in 2 games versus Alabama. What we had? 10, 11 assists, 1 turnover. We look at Mark Sears, 8 assists, 11 turnovers.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being the best player and the best point guard. There's a difference. I've been saying that Zakai Zeigler is the best point guard. And there's been some that's maybe chuckled a little bit, maybe laughed, because all they see is Mark Sears putting up buckets.
Yep.
What's your take?
It's no question about it, and I think this solidified it. I was on board with you with this regardless, and it didn't take this game to see it. But, man, to watch this young man do what he did coming off the ACL injury that he had, and take the bull by the horns, best point guard in the SEC for sure. I'm ready to jump out there on that limb and say top 5, if not top 3 point guard in the nation. Also first team all SEC and first team all defense, along with SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Now, it may get overlooked because they put so much on block shots and protecting the rim, but Zakai makes it where you can't even get to the rim. Like, you don't even have an opportunity. If you notice, it's become so routine, it's overlooked. Do you notice where these teams are running their offense? Like, the point guard does not get to handle the ball and initiate offenses anymore. It's the two. Alabama let Riley and Griffin bring the ball to the floor because they were sick of it. Enough was enough. They were tired of it. Aiden Holloway and Trey Donaldson were no longer even factors. They brought KD Johnson in, who's the scorer in the microwave off the bench, to help bring the ball up. Jalen Williams came back and played that game just so he could help bring the ball up. Like, this man is so disruptive. And he's been like this all year. Regardless, people try to put him in the post. They try to post him up. Barnes doesn't bring a double team. Like, they don't dump. They leave him on an island by himself, and he still gets it done. So on both ends, that's the defensive end. On the offensive end, think back over the years, even without Dalton Connect, how many times the ball would swing side to side, good body movement, good ball movement. Let's get a shot. Santi can't get his shot off. You got to start pump faking. Now we get a shot clock violation. Even a lot of people would say man, Zakai shouldn't be shooting no 14 threes a game. Like, okay, but who else is going to shoot? Sometimes your best offense when you got a do and a Walker in the game is shoot the ball, put it on the rim. And you saw that to end the game. Zakai was the one to take that shot when Dalton Connect was out. Regardless if he made or missed, he gave them a better opportunity and an extra possession because of the offensive rebounding. And the second time it came back around, it was cash. So, I can't think of one person that affects both sides of the ball in the nation like him outside of what's my man at Houston, Shed. I forgot his first name. Yeah. Outside of him, it's Zakai Zeigler. Like DeJuan Harris does a phenomenal job for Kansas, but he can't put the ball in the hole like Zakai. Zakai will take over a game. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Jamal Shed. Yeah.
Jamal Shed, yeah, there he is. Yeah, yep. He pretty tough.
Yeah, he real
Jamal
tough.
Shed pretty tough. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like those two are in a different category for me.
Yeah.
It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about. Like you got them two on your team, they're gonna make something happen.
I mean, the fact that we're going to Houston, which is locked in as a 1 seed, and Shed, who is so nationally respected as the conversation here, that speaks to Zakai's importance. And this is, at this point, I think, repeating the obvious because others have noted, but it's easily forgotten. This time a year ago, Tennessee was trying to go on a run without Zakai. I know they had to replace some players as well, but they've added Zakai and Dalton Connect to this run. And last week, Ron, we saw them win a game where they needed to get 90 points roughly to win the game, and they were able to do it. And then a few days later, they're not able to score a bunch. They shot 36% from the field, so they figured out a different way to win, that time on the road as well. I think that's why all this confidence is coming out. It's not just that they won 2 big games. It's that they were able to do it with different players in different ways. And
they're battle tested. You look at it like a lot of people looking at the non-conference and when they were in Maui and things of that nature, and that invitational, like it was, man, look at them. Look how they like faltering against Purdue. Look what it is when they play Kansas. You know, and looking at the North Carolina situation, man, all of those things they went through, they learned from. Look at this game that took place. They do, and a Walker, you had to bring Estrella in to buy you some minutes for guys because your front court was so thin. That dates back to Purdue. This is the same exact thing. Remember how physical that game was, and the bigs got in foul trouble, and you had to put Estrella in, and he played sparingly, and then you had to put Josiah at the 5 spot, and we was like, dang, boy, we're going to be in trouble if this happens. Well, you played against the number 1 team in the nation when it comes to scoring, and your bigs got in foul trouble. You had a prime example of that way back in November, and you were able to reach back in there and be comfortable enough to put these guys in those positions and not bat an eye. Now, that's the growth. The way Meshack was groomed last year when Zakai went out, that's the growth to be able to go and look at him and play minutes and look at these mistakes that he was making during the game. And it was plenty of times that horn sounded and Jemiah Meshack was looking at the scores table. Because in the past, he would have been snatched. The man tried to do a post-entry pass. He passed it to the other team. Yeah. Then came back and did a bogus foul on the defensive end. Then came back down and made another turnover. And Coach Barnes did not hesitate. He let that man play through it. Yep. And look what it led to.
Yep.
A big 3. Yep. Big steal. A big finish on the layup. Like, he made play after play after play after play after making 3 or 4 bonehead plays before then when he would have never got the opportunity. So a little bit of evolving with Coach Barnes and him learning how to trust too. I don't know if it's the coaching staff telling them or what, but hey, man, got to give these guys a chance to let them play. And it's paid off.
Which performance?
Yeah, go ahead, Swain.
Which performance was more impressive to you between Jemiah Meshack and Josiah Jordan-James?
God, it's tough, man.
JoJo had 13 rebounds, man.
Yeah, man. Against a team like, and this is the thing. When you play in Alabama, Swain, it's easier if you putting Joe at the 5 or the 4, and it's the traditional way of it. Alabama went small too, and had Pringle in there a little bit. So on the cross switches and things of that nature, Josiah wasn't necessarily boxing out on the block. So he may be guarding the guy in the corner, maybe guarding the guy on the wing, and for him to go and still be mentally locked in to say, hey, man, I'm the biggest guy out here for us. I got to go get this rebound and come up with it. Him going from the perimeter to go in there and crash the boards, and if Alabama gets it and kicks it out, you still got to be locked in to be able to recover to a shooter that you just left. So the string of plays, I would give to Jemai Mashack. But the overall game, man, they got to go to Joe. Yeah. You got to. He delivered, man.
Ron Slay with us. VFL, SEC basketball legend.
Yeah.
With a week to go here in the regular season every week, thanks to Native Design and Hardscape. And the wins against Auburn and Alabama were great, Ron, but South Carolina's waiting. South Carolina's going to host Tennessee. They won in Knoxville a few weeks ago, so you got the revenge factor. Both teams are playing for an SEC title. South Carolina's talking about trying to win a championship just like Tennessee is.
Yeah, and look how this played out, man. You got the team picked to finish first preseason in the SEC versus the team picked to finish last in the SEC. And I think on both fronts, it was a little bit of laughter when picked. I think they thought that, Tennessee, what they were returning, could get it done. But I think in the back of people's minds, they were also thinking that, yeah, man, they always say this, man. Can they carry it through? And then with South Carolina, Lamar Paris got on the podium at SEC Media Day and laughed. It was like, I can't figure out why y'all picked us last. It just didn't make sense to him. And lo and behold, man, going into this matchup tomorrow, you have the SEC regular season title on the line. Like, either team can take it. And, of course, you got to win the last game to make sure. But, man, it's a good – they're in a good spot. I think throughout the season, both teams were riding high. Then they dropped off. Then they had to claw themselves back into it. And both of them did that. And this is a result. This is going to be a good match. And I do think these are two of the best overall teams. You know what I mean? When you talk about put together and playing through, I would put Florida in there too as well. But when you say overall team top to bottom, what they do on both ends of the floor, they are the most complete to me.
You gonna be all right, Ron? This a player on South Carolina's team that reminds you of you. That you really, really like, man. You gonna be all right this game?
I'm not gonna be all right, Swain. I'm not gonna be all right. I'm gonna take my orange headband with me, and I'm gonna go find a maroon headband, man, because I'm secretly a South Carolina fan, man, just by the simple fact of the way Lamar Paris put it together.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, he knew what he was up against. He had G.G. Jackson last year, who went on is with the Memphis Grizzlies right now. But after he left, it was like, okay, man, I got to get to work. Yep. I see what this league is. I see what I'm up against. I got to go get some guys that fit my pieces to play the style of ball that I want to play. And he went and did that, man. And he went all over the country to get guys. Went back to his old Chattanooga roots in a sense to go back to that conference, get B.J. Mack. Talon Cooper came along. Michi was there. Zach Davis put in work. Studi out of the portal coming from Vandy. But Colin Murray Bulls, when you talk about reminding me, Swain, I love dude, man. Like, I love that dude's game. He's an old school throwback cutout, man. I'm talking about the early 2000s, because you see a lot of guys that are 4 positions /5, and they get caught up in want to be finesse. I want to get out here and shoot the 3. Man, dude ain't got no problem getting right down that block and putting you inside of the rim. You know what I'm saying? Like, his growth throughout the year. And I hate we missed him early on, because I think he would be in running for Rookie of the Year, Freshman of the Year. And I still think he is. I just think Reed Shepard and Dillingham and Hubbard got too much of a jump on him for him to make up ground. But, man, you talk about impactful, man. This young man right here gave them a whole different dimension. He allows B.J. Mack, who was playing center, to go out and play the stretch forward, his natural position. So it's going to be tough, man. Talon Cooper is a general. We talk about what Zakai brings to the game. Talon Cooper does that for them, just in a different way. He's not picking up 94 feet like Zakai is. But once you get within the 3-point line or maybe a little bit over half court, he locked in. Once you get to that coach's box line, he locked in on both ends of the floor. They do not win without Talon Cooper being the point guard. They can move Michi there. Jacoby Wright brings a different dynamic. Talon Cooper is a guy that runs this system, that old school Wisconsin Big Ten system, to a T. And that all of that is done because of him.
So how does Tennessee make sure the result in Knoxville from a few weeks ago against South Carolina doesn't happen in Columbia on Wednesday night?
Well, one, you take them out and you get them uncomfortable. I think you make them play at your pace. Two, I just honestly believe, man, you just got to make shots. Like, I went back and watched that game. It was so many open shots that were missed in that game, man. And you almost wanted to chalk it up to being like, okay, they're a little lethargic in this game. But I don't even think that was it. I don't even think there was a step slow. I think they missed enough shots, and South Carolina made enough shots with the shot clock running down that the separation was there. And you just needed to be able to make those 50-50 plays at the end, maybe grab an extra possession, grab an extra loose ball. And South Carolina was able to do that. I don't think it wasn't that Tennessee didn't play well, didn't have their mindset right, didn't play defense correctly. They gave up a couple of offensive rebounds. They gave them South Carolina another attempt. But it really came down to Tennessee just missed shots. This was that part when we were like, what are we going to do with Gainey? Like, you couldn't find no bench help at the time. That's not the case right now, man. So I expect this to be circled on their calendar the same way Texas A&M was circled.
Yeah, Tennessee shot 24% from three, 60% from the free throw line. Jonas Adu only got you 6 points, and Zakai Zeigler had 2 points, and those 2 came from the free throw line. And he was 50% from the free throw line that day. So you're not going to get the same Tennessee team. My question to you, Ron, is South Carolina better or worse than when Tennessee lost to them previously? We know Tennessee is better, but where is South Carolina right now versus where they were when they did win in Knoxville a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, that's a good question, Swain. I think they are better. I think they get more from their bench. I will say Studi's out now. They got Zach Davis playing a lot more minutes. Offensively, he's not going to give you what Studi would have given you, even though he has been scoring as of late. The last 3 games, if you go get 12 points from Zach Davis and what he brings defensively, whoo, you got something. But you want to put the pressure. I expect that to be the matchup for Dalton Connect. So it's going to be a lot on him. I think they'll get a lot of one-on-one situations unless Connect gets going. Then they got to throw something at him. But this is a different team. This is a more confident team in South Carolina. And it's no longer them sneaking up on people. You know, like the eyes are on you. So now you're expected to play that way. And they handled the pressure. What they did against Florida, I thought was magnificent. When you look at Coach Paris knowing the pulse of their team, he can switch because they know what to expect from him. So he can switch defenses and they pick it up. Go to a different offense of who we want to get the ball inside to and be able to pick that up. So it's going to be interesting, man. I'm still not sure one-on-one matchups. If Tennessee plays up to their par and defensively, can South Carolina create enough one-on-one matchups and win those one-on-one matchups? I'm not sure. So if you're sound defensively, one-on-one, communicating with all these screens and weak side action, finish the possession with the rebound. I think Tennessee will be fine, but this is a better South Carolina team.
It's Tennessee at South Carolina. Then it's Tennessee at home against Kentucky. Grab your headbands. It's a big week for Tennessee to close out the regular season. How will the week go? We'll get to that with Ron Slade. 2 big games to go for Tennessee to try to win an outright SEC title for the first time in 16 years. We'll discuss coming up. Swain, do we just go ahead and dive in, ask for a record prediction this week with how things will go?
Yeah.
Save it, tease it, or just
we got Slay. I mean, why not? If you're gonna do it anytime, you're gonna need to do it when Slay's on.
Right.
Man, listen, man. I think it's gonna be some hard fought matches. I honestly think the game Saturday should be easier than playing. Defensively, you know, you got to come out there with the mindset and hit Kentucky in the mouth. You know they're going to try to come out scoring. That's what they do. But withstand that first blow. It's going to be senior day. You got a lot to play for. Like it couldn't end up any better than the way it is. Wednesday, you handle business with South Carolina. Hard fought match. You can take a deep breath if you get that victory, moving on to Saturday. And Saturday is just payback, man. Saturday, this team has been real good as far as being able to hone in on who the opponent is they're playing and knowing that it's a get-back game. I think this is regardless of what happened at Rupp, this is a get-back game because they spoiled, and I will remind them, if need be, what they did to Chris Lofton's night. That was Chris Lofton's day, and y'all let Kentucky come in and ruin it. I mean, ruin it. Mm-hmm. And that can't be stood for. And it's seniors going out. Like, these are super seniors going out. Santi, Josiah, they have something to do. They have an opportunity to do something that the program has never done, and that's get to a Final Four. Right. Like, you have all the pieces in place.
Right. There's some people in the back that I don't think they heard what you said about last year's game versus Kentucky. There's people in the back, Ron. Can you repeat yourself for people in the back?
Yeah. Kentucky came in, man, to start the SEC season, and this was a whole build-up. Everybody was wondering, when is Chris Lofton going to get his jersey retired? Mm-hmm. Like, when is it going to happen? Why haven't y'all done it yet? So the time finally comes. Chris Lofton goes on a media run. He's the darling. SEC interviewed him. Like, ESPN talked to him. Chris Lowe did a fabulous story on him. And the day builds up, and it is a packed house. Packed house. They went in there and ruined his entire day. I remember being on the SEC Network and them panning to me. I was like, y'all ain't going to interview about it first or nothing? Just going to come straight to us, huh? And I had to sit up there and talk about how Kentucky dominated Tennessee. More physical than them, outskilled them. They just outworked them at their place on a day like that. So here it is. This is almost a double down what's coming up this Saturday. You got your two guys, Josiah Jordan-James, Santi Vescovi, and I forgot my man's name, man, number 35. He wearing the number, man. I'm just glad the number's still alive. But you got him, and you also got Dalton Connect. People going crazy over these guys. Man, they're going to show up in droves. There's no way to get tickets for this event. It's not a game. It's an event. You're honoring guys, but they help lay the pillars and the foundation of this program. Also, with Dalton Connect, the newfound gem that was just laying there in the rubbish, and you got an opportunity out of all teams to gloat before going into the SEC tournament. This is how you capture the nation. Put them on notice with this right here going in the SEC tournament, because people still think that Kentucky is one of the favorites to run off and win this national championship. You can put all that to rest. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
They just won't give us no respect. All right, Slay.
Colin Coyne, by the way, a shout out to Colin Coyne. He's rocking the
Colin Coyne, that's his name. That's my bad, man. That's my guy right there. I like him. I like the big fella.
Only 6 other Vols in program history have scored 30-plus points 6 times in a single season outside Dalton Connect. Bernard King did 3 times, Allen Houston twice, Ernie Grunfield, Dale Ellis, Chris Lofton. Those players have their jersey retired. There's one other player, jersey not retired yet, and that is Tony White. Is it time for Tony White to have his jersey retired, Ron Slay?
I've been saying the Wizard should have his jersey retired. I never understand the what it takes to qualify and all that. I've never been able to just read through it and understand it, because what it doesn't take in account is impact. The impact that was laid upon on the conference, not the school, but the entire conference. When you have a guy that year after year after year you have to plan for to stop, and you can't stop him. Man, the Wizards should have been up there in the rafters, man. I say that, man, and I mean that. I don't know what the holdup is with them, but hey, man, you in the rafters. You in the rafters in my book, Wizard. I always mention you. So yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know nobody can score like T. White. After you talk about Bernard and Chris Lofton, the hell of a score, without question. Tony White gonna hit you all three levels, man. Like it was a different animal.
Yeah, Tennessee has this criteria. So would your suggestion be to relook at how the criteria works, or how to, because they have the standard to avoid any debates, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're eligible, there can still be a debate, I suppose,
right.
as well. But so would you revisit the criteria? How would you kind of handle that?
Yeah, I would love to know what is
a committee that can vote you through.
Yeah, what is it compared against? Like, is this what is at other schools as well? Like, where did this come from? Where did this criteria come from? That would be my question. Like,
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know about other schools how they handle.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it ain't many. I think looking at it, it's not many that deserve it. You know what I'm saying? But the ones that do deserve it, we know who they are, and I think when you sit them alongside anybody else, they're gonna get the nod. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You ask anybody that knows about Tennessee basketball history, and if they don't say Tony White, they don't really know. Like, they're lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no ifs, ands. The same thing when Grant Williams comes up. Like, regardless of numbers, impact was totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like, Grant didn't have no amazing numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, his team won. He was impactful in those wins. And when it came down to it to carry the team, they could depend on him. That's enough for me, man. That's enough. And he rivaled anybody else in the nation. Like, if you go to ask any other coaches, would you like to have a Grant Williams on your team? Yes. Astounding. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's what I need to know, man. Like, if you're held in that esteem, dog, that high esteem, like, why would it even be a question?
SEC Player of the Year in 87, All-American in 87, honorable mention, All-American, 86. So 2-time All-American.
I don't know what we talking about.
I mean,
yeah. Fill it up with the best.
What we talking about here, Slay? You're right.
I have no earthly idea what we've been talking about. Yeah.
And that's a case, by the way, from an SEC legend, VFL legend himself, Ron Slay, from Tennessee.